Good morning this Friday, 25th of June, 2021. So I got asked the question yesterday in a message about what could I pick up about the vaccine rollout, anything else I could be picking up with the vaccines. Now, the problem with trying to predict something on a mass scale like that is I can't mind read. So every single person has free will of choice. They can make decisions. I can't, when it's a collective, like, so you've got so many doctors, so many politicians making decisions for the population, I can't mind read what they're going to choose to do. So if you think about it, if they have worked in politics for their whole entire life, or a doctor's, been doing that for his whole life, and he is what they call a professional or an expert in their field, their mindset is going to be the same as it always was. It's very rare that, because they're so busy every single day doing their work, they don't usually have time to be on their own, to meditate and to go within and to become more spiritually aware in their thinking. So they are stuck in that same way of thinking. So in their belief system, they want everything to stay the same as it always was. So their actions that they are taking is so that everything can stay the same as it was. So they believe in their mind that they are doing the right thing by the general population by saying everybody should have a vaccine. That's what they've done in the past, and that's what they're doing now. And you've got to remember, they are all still individuals. A politician, a doctor, a scientist, they are still individual people with their own personalities. So do they have fear? Are they somebody who has a fear themselves, and so they believe by what they are saying and projecting toward people as valuable information that they believe? Is it coming from their own fear and then they're instilling it onto somebody else? Do they have a fear of things being so different that they'll lose their job, or they won't have the wealth that they've accumulated? Are they going to lose everything? If they've got those fears, then their decision making is not just coming from, I'm making a decision for the betterment of you, I'm making a decision for the betterment of me. So can you see how it's so hard to actually predict what someone is going to choose to do? What it does feel like is a lot of people are aware of how they have been told what to do in the past, and now they want to actually research and listen rather than just going along with things and saying, oh, well, if they said it, it must be right. There's a lot more people now going, oh, hang on, who says that they're right? Because, when there was no internet and all we had was basically, we had the media to watch. The news was the only reading newspapers, the radio and the television was the only way we could get news, which was all the same. It was the same narrative, no matter what channel you watched, no matter what you heard on the radio, it was all exactly the same. So we believed that that was right. Now with the internet, there is so many more people out there that have getting their voices heard, people that were never asked to speak up before. And now they're getting heard. This is where this conflict's coming in, because there's people saying the total opposite to what is on the media. Or what you get two professional doctors, scientists, and one will say the COVID vaccines are totally safe. I've researched it. They'll give you all the proof that they can. And then you'll get another professional scientist who will give you all the reasons why it won't work. And they're probably both very legitimate in what they're saying. But you also got to remember the person behind the person behind who is saying it. Are they fearful of change? Do they truly, but their perception of themselves Do they perceive themselves to be so correct and everybody else is wrong? Or are they just giving open, because what I have found with people that are absolutely convinced the vaccine will work, they're not really open-minded. They're not listening to both sides of a story. It's like this way and it has to be this way. Whereas the ones that are suggesting that there could be problems further down the track, they seem to be a bit more open-minded. They're looking at all avenues. So are they working out of less fear and the other ones are working in more fear? So it's a personal choice as to what you're going to decide to do. If they start with this, there's a fear with a few people about what if they start blackmailing us into we can't travel unless we have had the vaccine, or we can't go to a sport game unless we have the vaccine, and can't go to a music concert unless you've had the vaccine. If they start that, which they sort of have started in some areas, what would happen if 80% of the people just didn't attend music concerts anymore, didn't fly anywhere, didn't travel? If you stuck to your guns, you didn't want the vaccine and you decided to just stay at home and live a very simple life, you're okay. What about those businesses though? They're going to crash. The governments are trying to, they get a piece of everything, don't they? They get a piece of, when we travel, they get a piece of taxation from everything. If you stop traveling, then their money's not going to come in. So they're actually shooting themselves in the foot by demanding these things. Let's say Michael Bublé decides you can't come to his concert if you haven't had the vaccine. So he spends thousands and thousands of dollars getting this big concert thing together to only have a crowd that he would normally have 100% to pay off his expenses. If he only gets 20% people show up and 80% just don't bother going and watching him anymore because he's set that rule, his career will crumble. They're actually not doing themselves a great favour by demanding this of people, because it's not the old days where you used to demand someone go and do something and they went and did it. Now people are saying, no, I don't want to follow the rules. And this is where, I know it's causing a divinity, but the divinity is the way that people used to see things, and they're hanging on to that out of fear. You look at all those musicians. All they've ever done is sing and make money. You pay your money because they entertain you. They don't stand up on a stage and sing. Lots of people can sing, but these people happen to pay. You pay them to sing for you. They don't know how to do anything else. So if their fear is, if I don't keep getting people come to my audience and buying my songs, I can't make a living. And that's their fear. And a politician, they have fears like that's all they've ever known. They're not trained in anything else. They can't leave the political field and then go and get a job somewhere else. So that's their fear. So this is why they are pushing and pushing to convince people to do things their way out of their own fears. So I kind of feel like, although I can't predict what is going to happen, and if I did say, I think about last year when I was doing my predictions, that I did feel like there was going to be some sort of rule with traveling, as in maybe you can only take one trip a year if it's for a holiday, but you can do more business trips. And I do feel like they will have that. You have to have had the vaccine to travel. But if people don't fall into that trap and stick to their guns and stop traveling, even for 12 months, they'll have to review that rule because it'll break them financially. And they'll have to backpedal on what they've said, because people cannot survive if you don't support them. If you don't go to concerts and if you don't travel and if you don't pay for stuff, they will not survive. So that's where it is up to each individual to look at this whole situation and how would you like to see it if you want a world where we don't have to be controlled with passports that say we're allowed to do this and we're allowed to do that, and we don't feel like we have to be forced into a vaccine. It's up to you to stick to your guns and not get under the control. And the more people that do that, the less control that they will have. So I can't really predict how people are going to think. I just have a feeling that there's a hell of a lot more people in this world that are more awake and more aware and don't want to be controlled like they used to be in the past. So those people are breaking that the old-fashioned mold of us all being programmed. With each little person that defies being controlled, they're breaking that mold ever so slowly, but it is going to fall apart. So that's kind of my views on the vaccine. And I haven't had the vaccine myself. And as I've mentioned before, my dad's had it, my stepmom's had it, my auntie and uncle have had it, and they're actually all okay. They haven't had any medical problems as yet. So, also, I bought this book, which I've been wanting to get for a really long time because I heard about it ages ago. Metaphysical Anatomy by Yvette Rose. Absolutely amazing book. It's very, very thick. It's like an encyclopedia from A to Z of emotions that get trapped in your body. And so you get pain in your body. Whenever you've got a pain in your body, a disease is created. They are cells in the body that have been triggered to deform or malfunction, and it can be directly related to emotions that you felt at a time. So if you've got like a chronic pain that's just continually there and you've tried everything to get rid of it and it's still there, it quite often can be that you need to look at the when did it start, go back to when did this actually start, and what was happening around that time. Was there something traumatic emotionally that happened to you at the time that's triggered these cells to start malfunctioning and cause an actual disease or pain in your body? So they've got this wonderful index in the front with like so many. There's just pages and pages and pages of ailments and diseases listed. So let me just do a little example. Where's my glasses? Can't read without my glasses. Okay, we've got asthma. Asthma 157. Asthma emotions. Adult sufferers take on too much stress and responsibility. It is now important to take control of your life. You may have trouble coping with stressful circumstances and can easily get overwhelmed. You are often made to feel incompetent when trying to do things on your own. You feel too attached to someone, often a parent, and may be feeling this person's grief, stress, annoyance, or strain. It is an overwhelming experience for you, as you may not recognize you're expressing someone else's stress and fears. Do you feel your lungs tightening when a parent is angry or upset? Your mother might have suffered anxiety while pregnant. If the type of trauma that happened to her also happens to you later in life, it can trigger the same anxiety that she had. And then it goes on. There's like huge big topics, writings on it. And I have asthma, and I can totally relate to everything that has said from my childhood and my relationship with my mother. And I think now when you're aware of where it can stem from, that's when you can work on healing that. Where I put that connection, I can then release that connection because I'm aware of it. As soon as you're aware of something, that's when you can help to let it go. So let's look up another one. Let me see if I can hone in on somebody who's watching this, who's thinking of look something up. So I've just got shoulder. Shoulder problems. Right shoulder. There's the left shoulder and the right shoulder. I'm going to go to the right shoulder, 705. Look how big the book is. Oops, went past it. Okay. Shoulder problems. You feel weighed down by responsibilities, yet you are still willing to take on more. Your value is measured by how much you can do for others. You do not trust others to pull you through or to support you. Instead, you prefer to support others as you are able to control the outcome of the task or responsibility. This makes you feel that you have to do everything yourself in order to get it done. Taking on responsibilities is not what gives you the fulfillment you crave, such as love, acceptance, or praise. However, it's the gate to being accepted. You feel that people want too much of you and you feel obligated to provide and support others. You are taking on so much responsibility that you end up feeling frustrated, exhausted, and depleted. Your efforts are not paying off as you hoped, and you are left feeling that you haven't done enough. This sets you up to take on even more responsibilities that only deplete you further. This leaves you feeling more angry and resentful than ever, and it continues on. I can't read it all because it's a long thing. So that's with the shoulders. Let's look at a disease of some sort. Actually, I think they had the autoimmune diseases. I bought this off Amazon. It's if you can get a hold of this book, I absolutely highly recommend it. Also, Yvette Rose has a YouTube channel where she talks about the emotions connected to the body. So definitely get on to her. Autoimmune diseases. There are times when you feel challenged to judge for yourself. Who is my friend and who is my enemy? You don't trust your own judgment or those around you whom you rely on. You may be stuck in an unconscious state of fight or flight. You seem to feel under attack by others. You don't feel comfortable or welcome in the family. You often confuse positive criticism with a personal attack. Always looking for signs in communication that an attack is imminent. You expect the worst case scenario and are prepared for it. You are often under a great deal of scrutiny. You could never do anything right and feel punished and attacked by people who should have guided and supported you. Your perception and understanding of what safety feels like has been affected by emotional abuse. The abuse may have been projected at you or was witnessed when your parents abused each other. And it goes on as well. So if you can relate to those emotions that you're holding in your body, and then where physically you have trapped those emotions into the cells, then you get to understand what it is that's triggering your pain or causing you to have a disease of some sort. It's absolutely a brilliant book. Can't recommend it highly enough. I might actually try and do a live feed next week, and then if people want to just join me on the live feed and tell me where their pain is, I'll be able to read a little bit of these things out to them if you can't get a hold of the book. So, yeah, brilliant, absolutely brilliant book. Excuse me. And I've always known that emotions were trapped, connected to our health, always. But the thing was, I quite often couldn't figure out what triggered it. So what I started to do to help myself to work it out was to go back to when the symptoms started, when something happened in your life, and that's when it was created. What was going on in my life at that time? What was I feeling, and what was I suppressing? Like, what was I not discussing with other people? If I felt trapped or if I felt unheard, if I felt like every time I spoke up, no one listened to me, I stuck that inside me and got stronger and stronger and stronger to fight against it, but it caused disease and illness in my body. So definitely worth having a look at. So that's my little talk for today. And I'm just going to show you this little cute thing. My son brought this home from work just to cheer you up on our Friday. Here's the happy cactus The dancing cactus. He's not going to dance. Hang on. So I'll say goodbye from today and happy dancing, everybody.